just north of downtown Cold Spring off Red River Avenue. A brewery's been operating in one form or another since 1874. Some of the buildings have been replaced, some rebuilt, but the idea behind them hasn't changed much. Make something good, keep people working. Don't overcomplicate it. Back then, this road was part of the Red River Trail, a trade line that ran from Winnipeg down to St. Paul. Traders moved slow, the water here stayed cold. That's what gave this town its name. It's also what gave a brewer a reason to set up shop. Michael Sargel was the first. German-born, small operation, selling beer to locals and the monks at St. John's Abbey. There wasn't necessarily a 5-year plan. There was just good water and a process that worked. It's not about saving every original brick. It's about keeping the thing alive. And Cold Spring never stopped brewing. You read about these places and it's all dates and numbers. But you walk in here and it's loud, it's warm, it smells like work. This is a brewery that's still doing the thing it was built for. Yeah, this is, I love this place. So the fact that they're still brewing.
It's kind of amazing, yeah.
But is it just this and Shields? The only
Shelves are the last of the traditional breweries allowed, yeah.
In 1919, the country outlawed alcohol. Across Minnesota, breweries shut their doors, some overnight. But Cold Spring didn't. It pivoted. They bottled mineral water, sold a tonic under the name Red Star. It wasn't exactly beer, but it wasn't far off either. There was even something called Cold Spring Brew. No one asked many questions. They found ways to keep the lights on. Jobs didn't vanish, production didn't stop. But when the law finally changed, they were ready.
Decisive vote of the 36th state against prohibition is happy news for the grain raisers of the United States and for many others throughout the land. With an eye on December 5th, work is being rushed in distilleries and bottling works. Thousands are being called back to work in plants of allied industries. At least 500,000 new jobs are predicted as the result of repeal. From keg and barrel factories, perhaps the most closely allied line, immediate benefits from repeal extend into almost every line of business and commerce. However, everyone's not waiting until December 15th. The lid is off in many places, with the downfall of prohibition being celebrated in real old-time hilarity. Yes, and by the renewal of old acquaintance. Hotels and nightclubs report a real pre-war spirit among those revelers. Boy! Uh-oh! There'll be no more scenes such as this. Barrel after barrel of prize whiskeys destroyed by government agents. It's going to be a cold winter for the barrel busters.
On the night of April 6, 1933, hundreds of cars lined up here, waiting for midnight. The moment beer was legal again, Cold Spring was ready to pour. By morning, more than 400 cases rolled out. It was the first legal beer delivered in Cold Spring in 14 years. That's when the place really stepped forward. The beer was back. And that sign, Cold Spring Brewery, started showing up in photos, ads, and street corners all over central Minnesota. It wasn't just a name, it was proof they've made it through. The sign didn't promise luxury, it promised consistency. The local name people could count on, even when everything else had changed. By the time the 1950s rolled around, Cold Spring Brewing had found its rhythm. The beer was consistent, orders were being filled. It wasn't a big operation, but it was solid. Then Myron Johnson stepped in. He didn't show up with a grand vision or a new identity. He just saw what could work better and started there. The equipment was outdated and the demand was growing. So he upgraded what needed to be upgraded and left alone what was still doing the job. Cold Spring kept growing, not by selling more than one thing, but by making room for everything else. They started brewing from other companies, store brands, contract batches, regional experiments. You'd go to a grocery store in Minneapolis, see a name and didn't recognize it, but odds are it came from here. He didn't try to turn the brewery into something it wasn't. He just made sure it could keep going, with more volume, more stability, and more people at work. That's what leadership looks like in a place like this. You don't put your name on it, you put your time in. For a few years, they even opened a second plant in Mankato. It didn't last long, but it showed they were able to scale. For a long time, Cold Spring just kept moving forward. Different owners came in, the production line changed, but the tank stayed full and the work kept coming. Then it stopped. By 2002, after nearly 130 years in operation, the brewery hit a wall. Sales dropped, contracts dried up. One day, paychecks stopped arriving. There was a period here where nobody was getting paid, but people still came to work. It wasn't out of loyalty to a brand, it was loyalty to each other, and to the idea that this place still mattered. Eventually, a turnaround effort came together. New ownership, new contracts, enough momentum to start climbing out. You can see where the scars were, but also where the rebuild began. You know, when I first realized how special this place was, especially Cold Spring beer, it was probably when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in Washington, D.C., and I grew up, in central Minnesota, Litchfield, not too far from here. I grew up with Cold Spring beer at that time, and I was serving in Washington, D.C., and I went into a liquor store, and there in the refrigerator was Cold Spring beer, but it was extremely expensive, something that wasn't expensive in Minnesota, but this was one of those beers that just for a six-pack, I think I could get 2 cases in Minnesota for. So I realized there was really something special about it, the fact that it was actually being sold in Washington from something from Minnesota. So it was actually a little bit of hometown pride, and also a little bit of opportunity to taste something that we take for granted here, but other folks had an opportunity to enjoy in D.C. In 2012, Cold Spring Brewing Company launched something new, a craft division. Same facility, same people, just operating under a new name. 3rd Street Brewhouse. Third Street made space for new recipes and gave Cold Spring a way to speak directly to craft drinkers without changing who they were. You don't have to be from here to appreciate what's coming out of this side of the brewery, but if you are, it means something. During the last 150 years, clearly the brewery has changed, but it's kept to the fundamentals. Even though you see some multi-million-dollar equipment here that's all new, the issue of work ethic and doing something simple, keeping it simple, and putting something together that the public wants is something that's been a long tradition here that started 150 years ago. Danke für alles, Michael Stargel. Prost.